I'll leave a couple other topics up for you. Like, so, most of our audience is going to be interested in what's been the theme of our podcast ever since we started is this whole adaptive reuse, redevelopment demand that's going to start hitting the market even now, right? Like, there's Mace Rich that, or any of these shopping, center mall operators that are repurposing their empty J.C. Penney and Sears locations to Amazon distribution centers. There's, I think Hudson Pacific locally here redeveloped the West Side Pavilion to be a creative office, right, for Google, who signed 7 years. So, and there's architects that are telling us they're looking into, redeveloping offices to housing and hotels to housing. So I'm curious to hear your perspective tax-wise on this. Is there any kind of relevant optimization to look at when you do that? As far as, so if Prop 15 doesn't pass and it's just as is, let's say, but there's this whole repurposing of commercial. So do some of these developers have to look at some important issues when it comes to tax?
Well, I think I could talk about tax incentives here to different types of repurposing,
Right.
and how it works. I mean, under current law, and really the way it's been for quite some time, is that in general, at least from a tax perspective, there has been an incentive to for local government to permit the increased commercial properties in their areas. And the reason why is because that creates sales tax revenue, and sales tax revenue drives a lot of localities. I told you I was on the Larkspur City Council. A good chunk of that revenue was sales tax revenue from our local businesses. And so and the sales tax revenue will increase at a much higher rate than property tax revenue. So that's been the historical incentive. Over the past several years, the legislature has put in additional incentives for multifamily housing. In particular, that you can hardly listen to anyone in the legislature without hearing them talk about our housing crisis in California.
Yeah.
And so there's been other incentives that have been put into place to try to get the residential piece going. If Prop 15 passes, there will be way more incentives on the side of building residential than ever before,
right?
Because the residential property gets the base year value and is protected from the increases, and there will be more incentives ever to convert commercial property to have it rezoned residential,
right?
And industrial property as well. I mean, all of that, and there will be much less incentive for there to be new construction of commercial and industrial property. I think that's where this is all headed, so I expect to see that type of a transition.
Right.